Am I the legal department?
They want it all? Like,
This open.
offered for some to come set up here with us. Offered for some to come set up here with us. They have my seat.
Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a short invocation? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear God, as we gather this evening, this council asks for strength, courage, and wisdom. We thank you for blessing us with this wonderful town and giving us the privilege to serve this town. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
We're going to call to order the Mooresville Town Council meeting, October 15th, 2019. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from our previous meeting. Council members have had a chance to review the minutes. I need a motion to either approve or amend the minutes.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes as they were presented.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed and abstained.
Abstain.
For the record, Dustin has abstained because he was not at our last meeting. Under new business, before we jump into that one there, I was wondering, would the council entertain maybe a cover charge? Under new business, first item on the agenda is John Earhart. Summer sewer adjustment, Lakeside Commons.
Thanks, Tom. We appreciate you allowing us to present our issue this evening, and we thank you for your hard work and all that goes into serving on the town council. I want to first of all thank our members of the community from Lakeside Commons that are here tonight. You might raise your hands and say that we've got a few people that...
So count, hold on. No.
But no, this is an issue that's come up in the past, and we'd like to bring it to your attention again. I have lived at Lakeside Commons for 11 and a half years. The Lakeside Commons was platted in 2002 by Sonny Perry, and it contains 142 lots. Currently, there are 90 occupied homes, with another 5 under construction, and 4 more have been sold. It is an empty nester type home community of single family and some paired homes. We are located 1.5 miles east of State Road 67 on Hadley Road. All homes are sold as a package that includes the home, lot, and irrigation system. We have submitted a petition for your review that has been signed by a very large majority of our residents, and hopefully you receive that. The issue boils down to the summertime use of our irrigation systems. Most residents operate their irrigation systems 4 to 5 months each summer, depending on the weather conditions. As you know, the sewer bills are calculated on the total water usage each month. But in the summertime, a large portion of that water usage is supplied to the lawn and never reaches the sewer treatment plant. Let me explain to you what effect that has on my sewer bill, just as an example. I went back and reviewed my history from 2015 through 2018. And if I average my winter sewer bills, sewer bills during the winter, and use that average during the summer months, that would tell me pretty close as to how much of a donation that I've been making to the Mooresville sewer plant. In 2015, it was $171. 2016, it was $271. 2017, it was $265. And in 2018, it was $224. and for those 4 years alone, it amounted to $931. So for the 11 years I've lived in Lakeside Commons, I've contributed an extra somewhere between $2,500 and $3,000. You could compare mine to others and find some more or less than mine. It's a subdivision made up of odd-shaped lots. It has 5 cul-de-sacs, and so there's pie-shaped lots, and so it's not everything squared off. Each lot is a different size, and being a corner lot, mine's a little larger than some, and the cul-de-sac lots are even bigger than mine. Because of some of the homeowners elect to not turn their irrigation systems on because of this issue, I would estimate that 85 to 90% of our residents are retired and living on fixed incomes. Since it is an empty nester community that are made up of 1 and 2 person households, no children to live out there. After discussing this issue with the clerk's office, we feel there's a solution to this issue. In the sewer billing software is a module that can be applied to handle a summer sewer adjustment calculation. We feel this is the most reasonable solution that we have been able to research, and one that is used by many other communities around the state of Indiana. We would like to ask that you consider this option in fairness to those residents that own a Class A irrigation system. And we think in researching it that you write in the clerk's office is a solution that meets up with other sewer calculation modules that other communities use, like Mooresville. So that's what we're kind of asking of you to work with us and see if we can't come up with a solution to we're not cutting the water down the treatment plant in the summertime for a large portion of the water that's used going through the households at Lakeside Commons.
John, you and I had the opportunity to discuss this earlier in the year, and then I started in also. The module that you're talking about is available through Keystone, although we do not purchase it for the town. What you were talking about, the exemption portion of it. And going back through it, and since you had given me permission, hey Tom, take a look at this, we went back through on your bills, and it looked like you were using an additional maybe 9,000 gallons a month on the water. Does that sound about right to you?
I haven't measured the gallons.
Well,
I measured the dollars.
Measured the dollars. Well, I just want to be sure that we have, Mooresville has done a good job for the owners of the wastewater treatment plant, with which the owners are you guys. It's a publicly owned utility. The billed cost with a 5/8 meter is $16.95 a month, and then $3.48 per 1,000 gallons of use. So in that scenario, we're looking at it at about a $31, $32 increase per month, like you said, and then that reflects back in your $150 to $170. The last time that the rates were raised were 2010. We've asked, and we're having a rate study done now, because one of the things that this town has not done well is stay on top of their sewer rates. A lot of the communities have a built-in increase every month or so. And me checking other communities that do this, what I found was most of the communities, all the communities I found that were doing it, also own the waterworks. So, is it the baking soda company saying, hey, you're not baking as much as you should, so go ahead and throw your box in the refrigerator. The water company in this case is Hill Water, and I did call and talk to them, and Mr. Smith did say that there was a way to bring the water in, X amount of water going into the house, but apparently your system then comes out of the house into the irrigation system. Whereas some of them, including the developers at the clubhouse, they wire off and they have 2 separate meters. One that we as the wastewater treatment plant never see, and then the other one has their potable water that goes in there. Mr. Smith did advise me that they had the availability of putting another meter that X goes in, Y comes out, X minus Y equals Z, and then this is what we bill you for.
We've researched that, yeah.
And that falls right in line with our ordinance. Ordinance says, from 2010, but also, let's see here, record the records to be consumed, but which are also shown to be satisfaction to the town that such quantities do not enter the sanitary sewer system. So we have, in the ordinance, we have the availability to say, okay, this much did not enter the sanitary sewer. The ordinance, when they bonded in 2011, the ordinance was part of that bonding issue that said this is how we're going to generate our revenue. And it does say whatever goes to the meter is going to be billed at that, and we're living up to our agreement. Now, when I talked to Mr. Smith, and Ross is here somewhere, I think, maybe behind you, he said that they just didn't have the tools to provide us with that information as far as X minus Y. And I don't know that. Ross, do you?
No, yeah, they don't.
I mean,
It requires some kind of a metering, so you have to have a separate meter for that portion that's wide off and going to the irrigation. And we don't have the capability of doing that, other than somebody paying the cost of a meter setting, just what it boils down.
Yeah, and if you want to have these people spend $400 on an additional meter that we could put on the irrigation system.
now, he didn't tell me it cost anything. That's,
Oh, yeah, we're talking about a $600 expenditure here to solve that issue through Hill Water.
okay.
But they would still send the town 2 bills, and Bill
We
B
would
would
have
have to be subtracted from Bill A to get to a net usage of water that went through the treatment plant.
Okay.
And
See,
that's,
he neglected to tell me the $600.
well, I mean, that's a ballpark. It may be more or less than that.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't have him sit down. Nick Allen was gonna be here this evening from Allen Irrigation, and he could better address the installation cost. We didn't get to that point after I found out. I thought there may be some software available through the town that might handle Lakeside Commons as well as other people in town that might have a similar situation. There's Bridgemore Village. Some of those people are irrigated. I didn't invite them here tonight. I mean, that's Bridgemore Village. Not all of them are irrigated. But in Lakeside Commons, we're all 100% of all 142 units are going to be irrigated.
Okay.
And that was an election Sonny Perry made when he brought in the plat originally when I served on the planning commission.
And the rest of them, or was there any reason why Sonny didn't put 2 meters in on the construction? Did he say then, or was it cost also?
No, that's another $3,000 or whatever to put another meter in. I don't, Ross might have.
Probably about right.
Yeah, I mean, so you drive up the price of the house, so it makes that home not compare very well maybe to summer type housing.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that everyone came. I appreciate that everyone signed this, except I did not see your name on here. I really
I
didn't.
would say that it's a number.
What I like the best is that you put on there, we feel that this is the time to consider the 2020. So, I mean, it's not like.
Yeah, well, no, we're
we've
working
got a
for
little bit
next
of
summer.
time. Yeah.
We're not retroactive. Like I said, I've been out there going on 12 years. We felt like it was a time to take a look at it again. Some people would say that you're stealing money from us.
You
that
said
we're-
you were donating.
Well, yeah, I said we're donating, but some would say that,
I think we need a plaque.
but no, I mean, we'd like to pay our fair share, which we've been doing, and more than our fair share than most in the community because of our situation.
Okay. Well, I think that we do have an opportunity, because if we do change our rates in any way, there would have to definitely be a different ordinance written, and we have time to look at that. Are there any other comments or questions of John?
Well, I have not seen the supposed solution or anything like that, and we have this rate study going on. I think it's I'm not prepared to make a decision tonight without.
Well, I'm
seeing
not
it.
asking to make a decision.
But, we can incorporate that into the study.
And I have proposed wording from other sewer ordinances where they've implemented a summer sewer adjustment program.
He's getting your job.
And I'd be glad to work with Mel and try to develop,
Sure.
and we would be willing, we understand there might be a fee associated with, as other communities have charged a small fee each May, they have to come in and sign up and have that adjustment and pay the appropriate fee or whatever. But
And you were kind of thinking around $149?
somewhere in that ballpark, but no, we were thinking about 25.
Don't bid first, right?
Well, kind of a price of sharpening the blade on the mower.
There you go. You don't even do that anymore.
I know. Well, they mow for us over here, you know?
Any other comments or questions?
I think if when we're looking at this, of course, we have to look at not just this, but you have to look at people that are on Indiana American that have pools. And so it's all that same, it all incorporates in. Of course, you guys, quite honestly, aren't citizens of Mooresville.
I know, we're in an unincorporated area.
But I'm not saying, didn't mean anything, but we have to look as well as the taxpayers here and what they have to deal with. And if you fill a pool up, then they shouldn't get paid any more for that water than you pay for yours. So it's not just Lakeside Common, it's the whole 10,000 people surrounding us.
But most of the wording I've looked at, Mark, it says it only talks about residential, not commercial. But now it could include swimming pools, certainly. Sure, that's residential.
That's residential. So you have to look at all of those.
Oh, yeah, they can pay the fee.
Something for you guys and say, hey, how about my swimming pool, Martin?
Right. No, that's totally true.
So there's the thing, we have to get back with Indiana American as well to see what their program is. So you have to tie those two in together to see if we can make that work, if we can make it work. That's my thoughts.
We know we can make it work. If other communities do it, it's.
Well, I didn't say we couldn't make it work.
No,
Make
I know.
anything work.
We just got to come up with a process
Oh, I
and
totally agree.
who goes and confirms that someone's actually got a system that they're applying for and those type of things. Kind of like the alarm permitting.
Yeah, we're just looking for a degree of fairness to help people that retired and on fixed incomes.
Do you have to run the system?
No, some people elect not to, that have purchased it. That's part of the package of when they bought there, but they can't, in their mind, afford to turn it on.
Okay. So it's not something you're forced into from the developer?
It's just nice to have a nice looking community that we have, that there's probably 7 or 8 people that don't turn it on.
Yeah, it's a beautiful community. I
Yes,
appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Well, I suggest we take a look at this, and somebody needs to step up and get with the water company, see how their resident report back. So we can table this until that time, until we get that. But I think we should consider everything on the table.
Well, I think when we get down here, I'm going to give an update on the South Side Sewer and ask for permission to reach out to Baker Tilly so we can include this in there also.
That's fine. So
Thank you
that's
very much. The timing was
table
perfect.
that, Mel, and we'll table this till.
Yes.
I don't know that we can give you a date, unfortunately, when, but
No.
we'll try to let you know.
I just thought if we started the dialogue now, perhaps by
Good times.
next February or March, we might have a solution.
It's actually
I
perfect
understand.
timing.
Yeah, it's gonna take time, but you got other issues, but that's why we're here.
None's more important than yours, Sean.
Boy, you're hanging right in there.
That's right. We'll get that plaque made for you too.
Thank you,
John, thank you very much. And all the
Thank you.
residents of Lakeside Common, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming in. And like I said, John did not sign the petition. Ratted you out on that one, didn't
Well, we were on a cruise, I'm sorry.
What?
We were on a cruise out of town.
Probably should have omitted the fixed income part.
In the cruise part.
Well,
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna talk to some people about fixed income. I work part-time on the side, so,
There you go.
all right.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
You wanna let us go out and get
Certainly
everybody?
can.
Okay.
Yes.
Real quick, while everybody's vacating, can we go ahead and vote on that, please?
Oh,
I'll make a motion that we table the Lakeside Commons request until a further meeting.
motion made. Do I have a second?
Mark.
Seconded. Motion made, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Dave, Mark. What about the coverage charge?
I was actually gonna auction off my seat at one time.
It's honest to charge somebody for a service you know it's not, you're not performing, and that they're not being performed that way. And you all know it, and that's dishonesty.
So you buy a house and set up that way, it's dishonest because you buy it that way.
That's it, they create a system.
I just wanted to tell you something. One this summer, my water bill and sewer bill totaled almost $300. And I don't think there's anyone here that would want to pay $300 more for water.
How much was the water portion?
Well, it was like $140 some, so was the sewer bill. And that's ridiculous. So I just want to tell you that you can look it up. You take my name, look it up.
Oh, I understand. I've got a question though. No, but I would have researched my house first to see what I was getting into before I just purchased something without knowing what the
Well,
outcome
you know
was.
what? You can't say that. I was the seventh house out there. How much research can you do if you're the seventh house?
Well, I mean, you could hire an irrigation. I mean, if you're getting
No, you
irrigation,
have to
Mr. Perry
have
could have provided
irrigation. I don't know
information
what,
to you.
John, I couldn't hear you back there.
Sure.
When you bought out there, you had to have the irrigation
I understand.
put in.
I understand.
Okay.
But that
and they
wasn't-
told us that that was going to cost us about $30.
Then why didn't you go to Mr. Perry if it was only going to cost $30 and he's the one that told you that? Why is
I
that?
believed him.
That's what I'm saying. It's not our
It's
fault
because
because
why you guys are just.
And besides, I'm on fixed income, and my doctor was ready to throw me out of my other
I
house
understand.
because I was having seizures and I fell and broke my back.
Yeah.
So, and I just went and got the first place I could find. I had no clue what I was getting into.
I understand.
And that's your fault.
Yeah. I researched where I bought my house.
Yep.
And if you're on a fixed income, I don't think I'd buy a house that would require irrigated
Okay,
water.
Tom.
Okay, this is a public hearing for a confirmatory resolution for Integrity LLC. Open to public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak on behalf of or against the confirmatory resolution for Integrity LLC?
We have a lot of signups, but I don't know if they're, probably not for there, but
Okay.
make sure that nobody's there for that.
Nope, I'm here on their behalf. I'm Mike Dellinger with the Morgan County Economic Development Corporation, submitted the application, the SB1, on behalf of the company. As you noted in the declaratory resolution process a couple weeks ago, the company's looking at an expansion that they recently announced. For those who don't know, Creative Works is the occupant of the real estate, and they're in the business of creating props and arcades, game rooms, entertainment that you see. You might go to Six Flags over St. Louis and walk into the arcade, and it was an arcade designed and built by Creative Works in Mooresville. So we're asking this evening, I think it's about $1 million capital investment total with a building expansion, some R&D work they want to do, and they're basically taking their current employment base of 70 and doubling it through this process over the next couple of years. So we would ask that the town council this evening would grant the confirmatory resolution on this tax abatement request.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to approve Resolution 17, 2019. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yes. Next item on the agenda, this is the, can we close the public hearing for, or we'll just close them at the end. Public hearing for the confirmatory resolution, TOA USA personal property.
Tom, we've looked at that, I think, you're doing the declaratory, I think everything was in order then, and I will make a motion to approve, and that would be resolution 18, is that correct?
I'll second.
Okay. And that's for 18. Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
4-0. Public hearing for the confirmatory resolution, TOA USA. This is for the manufacturing equipment also. This is for personal property. Public hearing, is anyone to speak?
Likewise, we had looked at that through the declaratory. I think everything's in order there as it is now. I make a motion to approve resolution 19 for Total USA Personal Property.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion to close the public hearing?
I'll send motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
How many of these do we need, Siri? Next item on the agenda is the declaratory resolution for the Shell building.
Would you like me to comment on that, Mr. President?
I would love for you to make a comment on that.
This is an application from the Mooresville Redevelopment Commission for its speculative industrial building that's building in Mooresville Industrial Park off of Haymaker Drive at Merriman Road and State Road 67. It's a 75,000 square foot spec building. It's expandable to 150,000 square feet. The number I think is 4.175 million more or less on the construction value. And on the tax abatement application process, our office worked with the Redevelopment Commission based upon the tax abatement matrix that you have and our estimate that 50 new jobs would be created as a result of this project. The Redevelopment Commission is asking that you would start the process tonight for a 10-year tax abatement. This 10-year tax abatement ultimately will be transferred to the purchaser, the ultimate purchaser and user of the property. So we're starting the process now with the Redevelopment Commission so that we can work this out now where we'll delay the schedule to the benefit of the ultimate end user so that they'll get the full 10 years out of it, which is permitted by state statute. So this evening we're asking that you would start the process with the SB1 and the declaratory resolution.
The taxes wouldn't be due until certificate of occupancy and end of the year after, since we paid them in arrears. So there is time to work through this change of ownership and everything like that.
There is. What will happen is the building will be substantially completed in more or less the summer of 2020, and then it would be assessed in January of 2021. And what we'll do probably then is start the tax abatement process, a 10-year schedule about a year after that. That gives us the opportunity to find that purchaser, the project that will ultimately take that building to the Redevelopment Commission. Because we don't necessarily want the Redevelopment Commission gaining the tax benefit. It's like paying itself. We want that benefit deferred for that end buyer. So that's what we would probably be doing.
We have a resolution on that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
That will be resolution 20, and that is a declaratory resolution, and we will also need to set the public hearing as a confirmatory. Need a motion to approve or deny resolution 20, 2019.
Motion to approve.
Motion been made by a second.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
The declaratory or the confirmatory resolution, we set that for 2 weeks. Or can we hold that at our next meeting?
Yes. Isn't my publication by then?
3 weeks.
Yeah, we better go next meeting.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
I need a motion to set the public hearing for the confirmatory resolution for November 5th, 2019.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Mark Dave. What did you have on the resolution? Okay. Next item on the agenda is the Southside Sewer update. Gentlemen, I passed this out this evening. This is in response to Banning Engineering. We had contracted them to look at our south boundary, and then also maybe any other issues in the rest of the town, concentrating on the south because we felt like that was the age, and that's probably the most mechanical portion of our system. If you go, you'll have two maps in front of you. You'll have an existing and a proposed system upgrades. And then the way that they did this, because we asked that they Fisher price this for us, they marked each and every section of the upgrades and improvements with either a 1 or 2 designation, 1A being the Merriman Road lift station at the south, at the most southern point of the system, and then working up from there, working to the gravity portion of our system just north of White Lake Creek. If you look at that system, what it does is their proposal is to start at the south end, a lift station, force main north along the west side of 67, cross there at the intersection of Old 67 and New, go around what we call the Packmore building. Gravity flow that into the Rainbow lift station, and 1C is an upgrade of the Rainbow lift station. At that point in time, they would oversize and replace the force main that takes that north all the way to our gravity system. That phase 1 is broken down into jobs and then also with their estimated costs. The estimated cost for that part of the improvement, and keep in mind that all this is doing is replacing systems that date back as far as 1995 and upgrading them for any possible flows and upgrades. This would also take us in, if the time should come any further south, would allow us to run that water in. It would also allow us the capabilities of bringing properties to the west into the system. That project is estimated to cost $2.86 million, $896 million. The second phase of it takes the forced main that is currently in our industrial park and gravity flows it down to the upgraded lift station at Merriman Road. This frees up a lot of the problems that we've had or look to have on the east side or west side of that 67 north from Hansel Parkway. We currently have a lift station there at Crosby Road, and then that goes up to just south of the creek. The creek infrastructure is a siphon system. The head pressure pushes the sanitary water through, and they're proposing to change that to a lift and force main system. That phase of that is an estimated $2.5 million. That is taking our very good system and making it even better. Doesn't mean that we have to do that. What I alluded to earlier was I wanted to ask permission of the council, since Baker Tilly is doing a rate study for us, is to propose that they incorporate these two jobs into that proposal, to where we will have before us a proposal of status quo doing nothing, what we need to do as far as addressing our sanitary sewer rates, upgrade of phase 1, and then an upgrade of phase 1 and 2. We can, because of the comments and questions that were posed to us this evening, we can also add into that, how can we change this system or change our billing as far as any summer adjustments.
I don't think that, we certainly want to look at phase 1 and phase 2 both. Some of these, as we said, are working okay now. We've got some that are 1995 that won't be, and you you don't wanna do this, you wanna do this correctly, you don't wanna do this haphazardly. You wanna go ahead and do it right the first time. Sometimes we, through the years, maybe been guilty of not doing that, and I think we need to get this done, find out what it is, and then we'll react to that when we see the numbers. I would go along with that, provided we somehow give those folks the estimates on what Indiana American would do in that water system as well, not just Lakeside Commons.
Okay.
So with that, I mean, if you want a motion, Tom, you've got it from me.
I'll second. Because I agree.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
I will take these proposals to Baker Tilly. We will, I will throw into that I will reach out to Indiana American, maybe get with Ross again and see what the proposals are there. So, motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Proclamation. Received an email from Melissa Williams from the, I want to make sure I get this right, Indiana Native American Indian Affairs Commission. As part of the State of Indiana Civil Rights Bureau. What they were asking was the state of Indiana, Governor Holcomb is going to make a proclamation that November is going to be our Indiana Native American month. They asked that we as a community join in and celebrate the legacy of our First Peoples. This language that I have laid out in front of you is a proposal that came from the state. She did introduce me, and I was very happy for that, to Peter Magnet, and I saw him walking in somewhere here. Peter, if you would, please. Would you come up to the podium for just a moment? Peter is 5/8 Chippewa and is a member of the Kiwani? Help me out.
Keweenaw Bay Indian Committee.
And he is a commission member for the Indiana Native American Indian Affairs Committee. So, or Commission, I'm sorry. And I asked him to be here this evening as we look over this proclamation and answer any questions that we may have. He brought to me, because he oversees several counties, including Morgan, he brought to me the Indiana Department of Education report.
Census-based.
The census-based of members of Indian tribes that we have here in our community, in our county. And it was 496. And that was fascinating to me. I'm sure that he would answer any questions. I feel like this is something that the town can get behind as we celebrate how we got to where we are. Any questions of Pete?
No, I make a motion that we approve the proclamation as presented.
I will second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pete, we have a copy of this, and I would like to sign it and send it with you. And it talks about the celebrating the legacy of the First Peoples, celebrating the thousands of Native American Indians who live successfully with us today here in the state of Indiana. The state of Indiana, it says, represent 114 of the 578 sovereign nations in the United States. Thank you for being a part of this.
Thank you.
The town of Mooresville celebrates you and the people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a street closing permit, downtown merchants. If you have to.
Well, you know.
You know.
So, anyways, you guys got a picture of everything, I talked everything off with you, everything. So, the only thing we're adding this year, we are adding Friday. We're adding Friday for the Christmas tree Christmas tree celebration, you know, lighting, and closing the streets down, from 5 to 9. To keep the people safe and the kids safe and everything. 'Cause we're also adding in, Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus is gonna be out handing out stuff to the kids. We got elves, we got carolers running around the whole town. We're decorating the whole town, thanks to the streets department too. They're supporting us in every way. Well, everybody pretty much supports us, and I'm grateful for that, the police department, the fire department. So that's what I'm asking for, so.
I made a motion to approve this, but I don't see our form behind where everybody signed off on it.
It was given to somebody.
I think it was in our packet.
I didn't see it. Okay, so we do, Kevin, you signed off on that, David, and Tim's on here, okay.
So, do you think just because you made the motion, Santa Claus is going to? Is that what did it for you when Santa Claus was going to be there?
Bag full my whole life.
I'll make sure he has rocks.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks for your hard work on this.
Now,
Thank
the
you.
Friday night, you are going to close all 4 streets also?
All 4 streets,
Okay.
yeah. That just, it keeps the kids safe and we don't have no issues. Last year, we had some issues with cars coming in and too many close calls. We just don't want that to happen this year. And we're making it a bigger event for the families and people around.
It was a pretty large event last year at the Christmas tree lighting, believe it or not.
Yeah.
For the first year of doing it, it was.
It's a pretty cool thing. Okay.
Thank you for all the work you put in for it.
Okay, guys, thanks.
Thank you, Mike. Help me out there. Mark, you made the motion?
And I second.
Okay.
I second it too.
I know, Mark. Santa Claus got you excited. Next item on the agenda is the Russ Holloway Ashbury Park rezone from ag to R3. Is Ross here this evening?
In spirit, I don't know about mine, but we'll see what happens here. I've got a handout and an exhibit up here. And I will try to make this as cogent and concise and quick as possible.
We don't.
Hey. First thing, this was held a public hearing before the Planning Commission in July 25th. I had given Mr. Daniel the ordinance. At that time, the Planning Commission meeting was continued at least, I believe it was twice. It was a little bit chaotic, quite frankly, and we won't go into that. But to say the least, we ended up with a list of 7 commitments, but an unfavorable recommendation from the Planning Commission. I don't know exactly why, because we had these commitments and I thought we were working towards a favorable recommendation, but that was not the case. This is an expansion for Ashbury Ridge, which has been in existence, many of you know, as Weber's Mobile Home Park back, in the 50s or 60s probably. And Troy Weber, conveyed it to Ashbury Ridge in 1982. And at that time, the entire conveyance included the 1920 acres that we're talking about tonight. So it was all originally 35 acres, including the part we have here tonight. The north part is already zoned appropriately R3. We were asking for an R3 change to the south part so that there could be an expansion of the mobile home park. And you can see here, we've got it and I panned it out. over here is the expansion. There's the green area of the surrounding residences. The expansion would be for only, and we've added some pictures here, they would be for wide, regular manufactured housing. I hate to use the term double wide, but that's what they are. I've included some pictures that are in fact of the modular homes that are existing in Ashbury Ridge, and you can see they are very nice. And I hate to think that there was some class warfare going on here with the neighbors surrounding it, but you know, it all boiled down to not in my backyard, and that was the bottom line, because there's really no rational reason other than that for not approving this. Having said all that, I brought some folks here tonight from Ashbury. If you just stand up, please. And these folks live in some of these homes, and they would like to see additional additions to their community. And I think also from an economic development standpoint, Mooresville needs some affordable housing that is not apartments and some things like that. And I know that our industrial base doesn't pay the highest wages around. And these folks, if they don't stay in an apartment, Ashbury Ridge is a clean, well-managed, appropriate place for those residents to live. We're here tonight with these 7 commitments, which would run with the land, would be binding on not only the current owners, but any future owners. And I've got several, I'm going to read them quickly, is that it would be for R3 would be for a manufactured home park only, no apartments, nothing like that. There would be a commitment for a 40-foot wide type 8 buffer yard, and we've shown that on the surrounding drawings. It's really here and here. Then we were committed to not having homes any closer than 140 feet to the R, which is south in Country View, and that woods would be maintained through there. And then we would have manufactured would be placed, would be subject to the zoning ordinance must be owner occupied. In other words, no rentals. There would be no renting or subleasing of any manufactured house. There would be no direct access for this section to Pennington Road. It would all come through the existing development, and we would construct a 6-foot privacy fence along the east line here, where some of the residents to the east took objection to the development. I want to point out, and this is the first time I think this has ever happened to me, is having residences 500 to 600 feet away object to something they can't even see. Even to the south, the closest residence is 246 feet through the woods, but they got a wastewater treatment plant that's even closer. I think that, and I normally, when I get an unfavorable recommendation, quite frankly, I, for lack of a better word, roll over, because it is an uphill battle. But in this case, I think the Plan Commission got it wrong. And so we're here with the council, and the final decision is with you folks, and it's what's best for the community, not necessarily those folks immediately joining the project. And with that, I would try to answer any questions you might have.
Ross, one question I have is, I know you're saying that you're going to restrict egress through the 144 exit, which I just counted up as 63 potential new residences.
Yes.
What's going to prevent them from going the other direction? I mean, or you can't shut down Pennington Roads.
No, not 144.
So what?
There would be no additional access onto Pennington Road.
But they would still utilize
They would still utilize it.
Okay.
And that would give them three accesses and ingress and egress.
What's the third access? I guess I'm
There's
not
2
familiar.
on Pennington Road now, and there's 1 on 144.
That's right. Yeah.
So there's 3 more than adequate for fire protection, safety, and things like that. And in fact, you can see that even this additional section down here has 2 accesses, and so that you for fire safety reasons, you like to have more than 1 access. And quite frankly, this is a zoning request. The drawing you have before you, I wish I had never made. because it may not end up being this, and quite frankly, this is the maximum density we could have, and it probably will not end up that way. It will be something less. The drawing you see here before you is 63 lots, but that's only if we maximize everything, it all works out perfectly, and it won't, I can tell you that, so it will be something less. But the elements are there. There will be 2 accesses, and we're committing to no future accesses onto Pennington Road. And the area we talked about, buffering to the south, maintaining the vegetation clear across the little valley there, and but quite frankly, people 600-700 feet away, they don't even know that mobile home park exists now, let alone the new section. But I think it goes back to historically, this was all meant to be Ashbury Ridge. And there really is no other use for it because the access, if you don't create a new one off of Pennington Road, which would be difficult because of the lake and everything there, has to be through Ashbury Park.
Questions for Ross?
One last comment. Planning Commission are good people, don't get me wrong. And they were faced with a room full of, I'm going to say it, hostile people. And I can't say that, and they're here tonight, and they can come up and say their piece, but it was boiled down to not in my backyard, even though the Ashbury Ridge people that are behind me would say, we're good people. We don't have crime, and we don't want crime, and we don't have a lot of kids, so everybody in America deserves a place to live and the American dream, and some of us can't afford, $500,000 houses or even $250,000 houses. The homes I show you in these pictures are $125,000. So that goes back to my economic development comment too. Not everybody can afford a home in some of the subdivisions that even I've developed, and they certainly don't want to live in an apartment. We do have some mobile home parks around here, manufactured housing, that I wouldn't want to live in. I wouldn't want any of my children to live in, or any of my relatives, and I won't mention their names, but this is not one of them. This is probably the best managed park around.
Well, I don't think any decision that's made here this evening is shining light on who does and who does not live there.
That's correct.
I want to be perfectly clear on that.
Right.
When you say there's good people that live there, I agree 100%. There's good people that live in this entire community.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to wear our feelings on our shirt sleeves on this issue.
Ross, has anyone addressed the growth or the potential growth with the school system about their capabilities of?
If you talk to the school system, they were notified at the public hearing and had no comments whatsoever. This community has
very few children. There's 43 children in the entire, I believe there's 90, I can't remember exactly how many, 175 leaseholds. So out of the 175, there's only 43 children. So, and if you talk to the school district, they probably want the growth, because I know over the last few years they've actually been stagnant a little bit. So I think from that aspect, I think they would probably welcome a little growth. This, quite frankly, this development would not be the growth that they would probably anticipate for they make the school district what it once was, let's put it that way, from an attendance standpoint.
Well, your comment that you wish you had never made that map, I'm glad you did. It shows us exactly what we could be doing.
The maximum.
The maximum. And that's what we need to look at. We need every bit of information that we can have. The 63 vehicles, they will be going out on the Pennington Road. They will be going out to 144. It is additional vehicles.
Is there any restrictions on the amount of vehicles an owner can have at the park? I'm assuming.
No, but it's all single family residential, so I mean, if it's like most houses in America, there's 2 and sometimes 3, but I mean, as far as telling somebody they can't own but 1 car or 2 cars, I mean, you can't hardly do that. But I think that we're here tonight asking you to approve it with the commitments we've gotten here, which I think make the project better. I think that Asbury is a good community. You want to see that good community growth continue.
Is there anyone that wants to speak on behalf of the comments from the council?
Well, I've done this before, and no, it's not the norm, but Mr. Ross brought up that there was other people to speak, and this would be against. I just want a show of hands. You don't have to yell at me. Show of hands, anybody against this? And for? Thank you for participating in that little exercise.
I think the question is, is this, the highest and best use of land? Is it detrimental to public health, safety, and welfare? Which it is going out into a kind of a rough intersection there, I guess, for lack of a better term. And does it adversely affect any of the surrounding properties as far as their value? Does it create a hardship on the property owner? I know you said that came with it, but I guess that would have been the time to rezone that then.
Well, unfortunately, what happened was that it was split off for mortgage purposes. And that probably, you're right, should have never been done. As far as the highest and best use goes, it is an isolated piece of property. There's a ravine on the south side of it and restricts access from any other direction. To the west on Pennington Road, you've got the lake and the dam there that restricts access. So the access has to be, regardless of how this parcel is developed, from the north. To the north, you have 3 exits onto well-improved roads, being Pennington and 144. Whether or not you have that much traffic generated, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen probably for only a period of 10 years, perhaps. It gradually develops. Health and safety, it's got its own sanitary sewer plant, its own hill water, all of those things. The roads are all paved. This new section has to adhere to and conform to your new UDO. That means paved streets. That means curbs and gutters. That means all of those things. That means stormwater systems. So all of those things will be in place. The only difference between this and a single-family community, such as Colette Acres, Colette Meadows, or some of the others, is people think that it's manufactured housing, and that's what it is. That is the only difference.
What is the property size equivalent to, say, Colette Acres? What's the...
Colette Acres, well, there's 2 Colette Meadows.
Kind of
it's about
but they're both the same type
it's
of...
about the size of Colette Meadows,
yeah,
area-wise.
But the actual individual
Individual lots are about, let's see, they're 8,000, I believe they're 8,000 square feet in Colette Meadows, and these are around 7,500. So they're close to the same size. Quite frankly, when it comes back and we would get a chance to actually develop a plan, which has to go to the Planning Commission for approval, they very well might end up 8,000, 8,500 square feet. They're all right now designed to meet the UDO's requirement for a 24-foot wide manufactured house. That's what they're for.
Comments or questions?
I just learned what that was from an acre perspective. I wasn't pointing.
Out of fifth?
No angry birds.
I had no questions on that.
We have people here to speak on against, unless there's any comments from the board.
Tom, I've looked at this. I think Ross did a great job presenting it. I really do. I believe that. I'm going to say I appreciate the folks that came in and support. I think we have, I'm not going to argue with the concept that we need more lower income housing in Mooresville. And maybe take a little exception to the pay, that our pay scale's pretty good as far as our industrial jobs, I think. That being said, in this particular location, I'm not a player. I would not vote for this project.
Consensus?
I think there's a better use, and I do appreciate everyone coming in. I am actually the one that made the motion to give Ross the opportunity to come plead his case. I don't want to. I know several people that live in Ashbury Ridge, and I have nothing against that or what it is, but this piece of property, and that's the reason I wanted to ask lot size and average and traffic, because I do have concerns with the amount of vehicles and the traffic. Pennington Road, whether it's improved or not, is not a very safe road, and 63 vehicles at a minimum, and then most home, I live by myself and I have 3 vehicles, so the reality of the amount of vehicles, if you multiply the 63 by at least 2 vehicles, that's a lot of traffic. And 144, in my opinion, that entrance really isn't a safe entrance either. So I'm not really for the safety and the amount of vehicles that's going to increase.
Mine's easier. I took the poll.
Yeah, and that's not necessarily how we.
I said mine's easier. I took the poll.
That's not necessarily how we do zoning.
No, it is not. But right after the last council, the previous council meeting that I was at, my phone blew up, and I heard no positive comments about this. The individuals that reached out, I hate to say it, it boils down to I'm elected to listen, and I listened over and over. So I know it's not how we do it, but that's how I'm going to do it tonight. I will agree that we deny or accept the unfavorable recommendation from the planning commission.
Is that in the form of a motion?
That is.
Motion's been made to accept the recommendation from the planning commission to deny this rezone. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Ross.
Do you guys want to stay for the rest of it?
You want the mission.
Cover charge. You guys stayed for longer.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
See Ted. Didn't get to say hi earlier. Oh, you know Tom.
We don't do anything on this.
Don't know Tom?
Maybe he doesn't want to admit it.
I wouldn't admit it either. Yeah, Tom.
Didn't recognize him. It's been 7 years since I've seen him. I've been gone that long, 7 years in jail.
Hard to believe, isn't it?
Time flies when you're having fun.
There you go. We'll see you, Ted.
I'm telling you, a cover charge. Next item on the agenda. Richard's storage rezone from ag to BS. There's someone here representing them. Brian
Mitch.
And I would assume that we will table this until, or I need a motion to table.
I'll make a motion that we table this.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Ross still here?
Mm-hmm.
Did Ross come tonight?
You guys are,
We're killing you, right?
I'm guilty.
Okay. Ross Holloway Engineering, Standing in for Dean, is it just hit?
For which one is this?
This is the, this is the Weddle property.
Oh, the well property. This is easy. I'm just going to FYI for you, I'm going to hand Mr. Daniel a zoning ordinance from 2007. The entire property is already zoned B3, no action is necessary.
I was worried about why it wasn't. But what's that, 2007?
Because the zoning map shows it as unknown. It's a parcel of unknown zoning.
I think we rezoned that when the Weddles actually closed the appliance.
I believe you
I believe
did.
that's correct.
Yeah. But
That's what I couldn't figure out when I saw.
well, we couldn't find any evidence, and quite frankly, I thought it was, but we couldn't find anything until Jerome Whitty was digging through his files and found the ordinance.
And Jerome put a real estate office in there.
Yes.
That's what it is.
So this item is no action, and just for the record.
You want us to go ahead and prove no action, so it's a win in your column?
You know what, I really approve of it, I think it is, but I want to go ahead and make a motion that we make this, that way it's good and clean.
Okay.
That's-
That's good.
I make a motion that we make this property B3.
Second.
Or you just want to do that so he can bill for it?
Well, on January 1, he's hired me as a consultant.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
So the minutes will reflect that you are confirming ordinance number 1-2007. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, don't leave. We have Holloway Engineering.
You got better. Here's a better one.
This is a better one?
Better.
This county meeting, I mean, we're here for a long time, you know.
Until you get to 10 o'clock, it's not really.
Mark, you wait.
It used to
So,
go
Ross, way back when, in the 90s, we were here at 10 o'clock.
Oh, yeah. Exciting, to say the least. Anyway, this property has been approved by the planning commission to be replatted from 3 lots into one, known as lot number 1R at the northeast corner of the intersection of Indianapolis Road and Bridge Street. The property is currently being used as a contractor storage yard. If you look at the map, nice yellow one, it's a copy of the GIS with the Mooresville zoning on it. I've elaborated a little bit. To the west is I-2, to the north is I-2, to the south is B3. Immediately to the east, the south half, is B3, R1 to the northeast. So tonight we're requesting rezoning from R1 to light industrial, I1. And we've had a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission at their meeting September the 26th.
We're really using that for I want to know.
I'll make a motion that we approve the rezone from R1 to I1. It's obviously the best use for the property and the current use of the property. It just gets us in a better compliance.
I will second.
Now, where's this at? No, just kidding. Motion been made to,
Rezone it.
approve the planning commission's recommendation to rezone this property. Motion been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ross.
Thank you, Ross.
Okay, on the next, oh, what is that? What would that ordinance be? Do we need to have an ordinance to approve this ordinance, or do we just recognize that with our motion?
No, that ordinance is correct. You need an ordinance number.
Okay, for this one, for
Yes.
the second one, for the one where we just
Oh.
recognized ordinance.
Oh, no, we re-recognize the early ordinance
Okay.
because
So we don't need an ordinance.
That's
number.
correct.
So I need an ordinance number, ordinance 7,
what's the number?
2019. we have to hear this again? Next item on the agenda is the purchase, Indiana American Water Company. The purchase. Did we not want to do it that way? The sale of property to the Indiana American Water Company. There was a purchase and sale agreement that was forwarded to us. Mark, I think you received this, and you and Mr. Daniel had an opportunity to review it, and we need some advice on how to move forward.
Well, I think the thing is, obviously, we already had an agreement that Mel had written up, we agreed to ahead of the purchase agreement. This was our next step in this transaction. We did it under an economic development statute, if you will, for them to approve that as a gateway coming into town. The price is where we wanted it to be. We've talked about. Obviously, it's going to be a matter of public record as soon as some people are welcome to see it. That being said, I'd like for the council, so we can prove this, so we get going, and before we do that motion, I also, in the same breath, want David to be able to go ahead and get 3 quotes on a new building, because he'll need that at his place to take care of what he's losing. So I want him to be able to go ahead and get us 3 quotes at our next meeting, so we can go ahead and vote on that then. Can you get that in 2 weeks, David?
I can.
Okay. And we'd like to get that constructed yet this year. And I was going to talk to the Indiana American representatives to see if they needed us to vacate completely, or could we have a time frame where we can leave our stuff in there until we got that built. If not, we'll work it out. But I was going to call Indiana American representatives and ask them that. That's a separate scenario as far as David. I just wanted the council, they weren't upset about that he went ahead and had that for our next meeting, to have 3 quotes. Other than that, I'd like to make a motion that we approve this purchase and sale agreement and have, even though we already have that in line, for the town council president to act as the signer and the closer of the document. If we can't get this done, it won't be before our next meeting, I'm sure, but whenever that time comes, he would also close it. And then, again, it won't be cash, if he can't steal it, we'll give it to Sandy.
Do we have to?
Yes, we have to.
Are you trustworthy? The statute says it goes back into the fund that it was paid out of, and we have no idea where that was paid out at. Because it was done in 1919? That will go back into the CCD, can be used for any fund, and then it will come out to what you're saying is, if he has a building that's not to exceed the purchase agreement, it will come out of there.
My motion did not say not to exceed.
Well, we'll keep
nice
it.
try. I didn't say that.
Motion to approve the purchase agreement with, and also allow me to be signature on it and the closing documents.
Correct.
Was made by Mark. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Tom, I have the original here. I will hand to you, and then Sandy can have it for display tomorrow. Anybody like to come and look at it, or copy therein.
Okay.
Here's the original.
Okay. Do you need a copy of this?
Yes.
You do?
Yep.
This is a copy here. Sandy will need to sign this, and we'll get that tomorrow. And this one will be our copy. And then Sandy has. So we're gonna do this, make this.
Today's date.
Day of
October.
Is it the last?
Yes, the last page. next item on the agenda is a baby box.
Well, I want to start off by thanking the council for allowing me to be in charge of this project. Through this process, I actually had a second child, and so it became somewhat of a daily endeavor for me to go out and just to remind the public, it's easy to spend other people's money. It's not easy to go for them and ask for money for something. This was actually easy to go and ask for money because almost everybody said yes. And my update and my last update on this is before you as a contract, we have far exceeded the proposed amount of $15,000. I cannot give an exact amount because some donors went directly to Safe Haven Baby Box and donated directly with them. Some donated and dropped off checks or cash or whatever at our donation locations. I am comfortable saying we far exceeded that. One tweak is that I would ask that I sign this. It's more of a honor thing for me. I know that's not normal, but with the extra funds, I'm going to keep with Baby Box and see to it that their program, the training of the first responders, going to the schools, possibly buying billboards, is seen all the way through. So, and we are also looking at many, many years of that maintenance fund being paid as well. So we set off to do a small project, very important project, and this community never ceases to amaze me. That is my update, and I am hoping the council will entertain approving that contract tonight.
Well, I'm going to say, first off, on behalf of myself, thank you very much. I appreciate what you did. I know the hard work. It is hard to go in and ask someone because everyone has a cause. This cause here, I think, I remember the first night that you brought it to us. We had a person that was in here doing nothing more than rezoning some property. And she got up and told a very compassionate story that tugged on our heartstrings. And I am also impressed every day with the people in the town of Mooresville.
Yes.
So we will need a motion, and I would like for that motion to include Dustin to be signature on this.
I'll make a motion that we approve the contract for the baby box with Dustin being the signator and accept it as it is.
Motion made, do I have a second?
I'll second that with the stipulation, I would get through Dave's motion, but I would like to know how much was contributed at the end. So we know what's gonna go in the maintenance fund. The town is responsible for whatever there's left.
Yeah.
But I think the public should know how much was collected.
And absolutely. I will not only post on social media, but I will bring it up publicly.
I can care less if you ever post anything on social media.
I hear that.
I just want it to be out here so people know.
It's not just, this is not just serving Mooresville, it's serving, we're talking in other communities outside our county. So this is a ongoing effort. Baby Box was here yesterday, the representative. The location is about 90% firm. There's some engineering that we got to work out. But when I say location, we're not moving from our proposed location. It's whether or not it's around the corner or facing east because of the direction of traffic and cameras and stuff like that. So we're trying to find within inches where we can put this.
I second David's motion.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye. Thank you so much.
Next item, census update. I asked last meeting what the council wanted to do as far as the census. We questioned whether we should start a complete count committee on our own or whether we should join in with the counties. I gave Julie's phone number at the Department of Public Works, and I gave my phone number, and it was crickets. Nothing. Julie did find out that there are 3 mainstay volunteers that we can always count on. Susan Haynes. I can't now they have just gone away from me. Our librarian, Diana Herkamp, and Mindy Taylor have already joined the other team. They are already part of the Morgan County Complete Count Committee. That's who we knew we could count on. So even though it may start or may cause Armageddon, I'm going to tell you that I think we should join in with Morgan County on our Complete Count Committee.
I concur with that.
They have a meeting scheduled. They're so far ahead of us because we just haven't had the volunteers. There will be a meeting the 22nd, and I think that that's going to be a real fun meeting for everyone to go to.
I'm busy.
Do you want to know what time it was? What time were you busy, Mark? Good, it's in the evening.
I believe there's a co-chair for that in the audience right now.
Is it?
There is.
Do you think it creates Armageddon, us actually joining in and helping?
I sure hope not. I think Mooresville works well with Morgan County, and I think we can serve the whole county as a whole. That's my personal opinion. We've got great representation already from Mooresville already on the committee. So our meeting is next Tuesday at 5:30.
5:30, Mark.
Busy. I'll make a motion to approve that we do go with the county.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much for allowing us to play.
Okay.
And Julie probably appreciates not getting to do it by herself.
Are there any public comments this evening? We're not requesting any department heads, but Kevin, did you have anything, or
I just got a couple things, if that was okay.
if you would?
I know it's been a long time.
Hey, but you've set it out.
I saw you back there going,
Yeah. First one, cars update, there's really no update. Lieutenant Rogers checked with his contact. They're thinking by the end of the year, that's unofficial. Our new hires, Kyle Vaughn, he's already in his FTO, driving, stuff like that right now. We have our 2 other guys that are at the academy, just completing the academy. We have 5 applicants in the current process that we're screening now for 2 vacant positions that we can fill. The chief application process, it's closed on the 7th. From what I was told, the HR firm is screening those applications, and then they will give whatever they decide to the police commission. I was hoping the Commissioner Lane would be here tonight. Oh wow, I didn't see anything started. I was going to try to get with you before everything started. But I do want to talk to you before the meeting's over. And well, what he said, basically it's going to the HR firm right now, and it's in their hands. We have alarms at the town court that went strictly to the fire administration building part upstairs. Now those alarms and the town hall alarms all are going down to the PD. And we plan on doing an annual monthly test of those alarms to make sure that they're always working and everything like that.
annual or monthly?
Monthly, sorry. And I think that's about it, unless you guys have any questions. I gave you all the stats, so you guys have all those to look at, you and the commission. Thank you.
Thank you.
I asked for public comments, and there were none. Or did I?
One thing I want to let the council know, many days ago, that the cemetery was paved today. I think it's complete now.
The whole thing?
There's some burning and some painting to do.
Okay, but they did the main paving today. It really looks nice, of course, just from the street, but looks good.
Thank you. And I think he did say he did ended up, because we talked about the drainage, his guys also did the drainage, I think he said.
Correct, yeah.
Fantastic.
Now, I'm kinda like Dustin though, if I could put my initials in the asphalt.
It's got any footprint or not?
I'm thinking if we could just put you in one of the plots.
I did check the dimensions of the baby box. Nobody can fit in it. I checked.
Motion for approval of payment of claims within the dollar amount.
Make a motion that we approve claims in the amount of $643,958.66.
I will second.
Motion been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
Well now, okay.
I was hoping to get a little bit more out of it.
Motion been made to adjourn, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much.
All right. Now I'm going to try to make the Bob Evans before 8 o'clock to eat dinner.
What do you say, David?
So now I'm going to try to make the Bob Evans eat dinner. I usually eat before and I didn't. All right.
Let me see you.
See you, Mark. See you, Mel.
You too, Dave. I see you. Take care. Michelle, I'll see you.
See you, Mark.
Well, now I got too much to get back in this little thing.
I kind of know. I had to condense it down a little bit.
Nice meeting, good meeting.
Want a picture? I don't know if you want a picture with me or not. Would you want? I think I can get this. Hey, Mark, Dave, grab Dustin if you would. Dustin.
No.
One picture?
One picture.
Good thing I dressed up. Hold it upside down. Okay, I want everyone to squat down. Yeah, I know. All right, sit. Come here, Shortest. I don't know why I'm holding you. I don't know why I'm holding you. Oh, sorry. Turn it to where they can see it. Hopefully it looks like you're done. Okay.
Whiskey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you.
How you doing? Well, I was buried in the back to all the people left, and I got to sneak
Oh,
out.
yes. 5/8 Chippewa.